To the Xavier University's College of Agriculture, led by Dean Maria Rosario Mosqueda, faculty members and students, agribusiness professionals from the public sector, development partners from non-government and private organizations, and to all our viewers joining us via live stream, good afternoon, and I hope all of you continue to be safe and well. On behalf of our President and CEO, Cecilia C. Borromeo, thank you for inviting Landbank to be part of this webinar. We take this opportunity as a privilege to share with you our efforts and initiatives in support of farmers, fishers, and other players in the agribusiness value chain as we continue to tread the path to recovery and sustained development. Next slide, please. Historically, the agriculture sector has served as the backbone of the Philippine economy, providing a principal source of income and employment to many Filipinos, especially in the countryside. Today, as the country faces an unprecedented crisis of massive scale induced by the COVID-19 pandemic, the sector continues to play a crucial role in ensuring food security, jobs, and export activities. In fact, the World Bank recently noted that transforming Philippine agriculture into a dynamic, high-growth sector is essential for the country to fast-track recovery, poverty reduction, and inclusive growth. Contributing towards attaining this vision, we at Landbank continue to step up our efforts to support Filipino farmers, fishers, and other agri-players. Before I discuss these initiatives in detail, allow me first to present a short background about the bank and our mandate. Next slide, please. So Landbank is the largest government financial institution in the country, performing the unique dual role of a full-service universal bank and a development financial institution championing inclusive growth, especially in the countryside. Since 1963, Landbank has been fulfilling its social mandate of promoting countryside development while remaining financially viable. Last August 8, so yun yung anniversary, we mark our 58th year of serving the nation, and through the years, Landbank has consistently ranked among the top 5 universal banks in the country in terms of assets, loans, deposits, and capital. Next slide, please. Crucial to realizing our overarching goal of bringing timely and responsive financial services to as many Filipinos nationwide is ensuring that we are present where we are needed the most. Thus, among all the banks in the country, Landbank is the only bank present in all 81 provinces through an extensive network of 479 branches and branch-light units. And this is complemented by 55 lending centers in strategic areas nationwide, as well as 2,405 ATMs and 208 cash deposit machines. Next slide, please. As its core, Landbank is a government bank dedicated to supporting the agricultural sector. It has always been compliant with Republic Act number 10,000, or known as the Agri-Agra Reform Act, which requires all banking institutions to allot at least 15% of their total lending portfolio for agricultural loans and 10% for agrarian reform credit. As of December 2020, Landbank's agriculture loans reached 76.95% and 11.52% for agrarian reform. Overall, Landbank's agriculture lending has been consistently growing from 222.05 billion in 2018 to 236 billion in 2019 and 237.62 billion in 2020. Next slide, please. Likewise, for the first 7 months of 2021, Landbank's outstanding loans to agriculture sector have reached 221.4 billion, and this represents 78.58% accomplishment over our 281.75 billion target for the year. Of the bank's total agri loans, about 34.27 billion directly benefited small farmers and fishers, including those which were channeled through cooperatives and farmers associations, rural financial institutions, and other conduits. A total of 137.91 billion supported small, medium, and large agribusiness enterprises, while the remaining 49.22 billion backed agri-aqua-related projects of local government units and government-owned and controlled corporations. Next slide, please. In particular, Landbank has extended a total of 54.39 billion in outstanding loans to the agriculture sector in Mindanao, covering the regions of Zamboanga Peninsula, Northern Mindanao, Davao, Soxargen, Caraga, and the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. So basically, the 54.39 billion is our exposure for the Mindanao Island. Next slide, please. Nationwide, Landbank has cumulatively assisted a total of 2,791,074 farmers and fishers in the form of loans, subsidies, and training as of July 2021. This translates to a 93% accomplishment over the bank's year-end target of 3 million. Of this total, 529,344 small farmers and fishers from Mindanao were assisted by the bank. Next slide, please. So let me share with you some of the Landbank's credit facilities available to the agri-sector with affordable rates and flexible conditions. Next slide, please. So the Agricultural Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, or we call ACEF, this is in partnership with the Department of Agriculture, where Landbank is offering this ACEF. This provides credit assistance with minimal requirements and interest rate to individual farmers and fishers, agri-cooperatives, associations, as well as micro and small enterprises to enhance their productivity and competitiveness. Loans under ACEF may be used for the acquisition and establishment of agricultural production and processing facilities, farm inputs, and farm improvements. So we can fund up to 90% of the total project cost, and the interest rate is only 2% per annum. Next slide, please. So the next facility is the expanded Rice Credit Assistance under the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, or ERCA-RCEF. This is in support of the rice tariffication law. Landbank is also working with the Department of Agriculture in implementing the expanded Rice Credit Assistance under the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, or ERCA-RCEF. From 2019 to 2024, Landbank is being granted 500 million annually by the national government to extend affordable credit assistance available to rice farmers and their cooperatives for the purchase of farm inputs and acquisition of agricultural fixed assets with minimal requirements. So the loanable amount, so we can fund up to 90% of the total project cost. And the interest rate is, if we give it directly to the small farmers, we lend this at 2% per annum. If we channel it through on lending, meaning we give it to the conduit, this is 0% interest rate. No? But the conduit should pass it on to the farmers at a maximum of 6%. So the difference between ACEF and RCEF, ERCA-RCEF is dedicated for rice farmers, while the ACEF is basically, we cater to all type of products or production loan. Next slide, please. For the Sure Aid, Landbank also offers one-time loan assistance to small rice farmers whose income were adversely affected by the recent drop in palay prices through the Survival and Recovery Assistance Program for Rice Farmers, or SureAid. Under the program, rice farmers tilling farmlands 1 hectare or below can borrow 15,000 pesos, which is payable up to 80 years with zero interest. Next slide, please. So the next facility is the Socialized Credit Program under the Sugarcane Industry Development Act, or SCP-SIDA. This is in support of improving the country's sugar industry, and Landbank is offering this Socialized Credit Program. This program is directed at sugarcane farmers or planters and farm workers to help boost their productivity and income through the provision of credit for sugarcane production and farm mechanization. Through the SCP-SIDA program, Landbank looks forward to further contribute to increasing sugarcane production in Mindanao, specifically in Region 10, or the Northern Mindanao region, which is the country's second top producer of sugarcane from January to March 2021, according to the latest data from the Philippine Statistics Authority. Next slide, please. So the Sulong Saka program, this is also another facility of Landbank. This is for farmers cultivating high-value crops such as banana, cacao, cassava, coffee, oil palm, rubber, and vegetables, where we can fund up to 85% of their total project cost. So apart from financing crop production, this program also supports the establishment of nursery, budwood, or mother and plant or parent clone gardens, new plantation, replanting, rejuvenation, and rehabilitation of old trees, post-harvest facility projects, as well as trading and export activities. Other eligible borrowers under the Sulong Saka program include small and medium enterprises, cooperatives, farmer associations and organizations, large agribusiness enterprises and corporations, local government units, non-government organizations, and countryside financial institutions. Next slide, please. So another facility which we are also offering is the Sustainable Aquaculture Lending Program, or SALP. Specific for the aquaculture industry, Landbank is offering the Sustainable Aquaculture Lending Program designed to support contract growing or other marketing arrangement between an institutional buyer or a processing or canning company and small fishers and their cooperatives or associations, as well as micro, small, and medium enterprises serving as growers or suppliers. Eligible projects under the program include breeding, hatchery or nursery, production, grow out or culture of fish and other species, seaweed farming and processing of fishery products, trading, and ancillary services. So under this facility, we can fund up to 80% of the total project cost. Next slide, please. Another important lending program of Landbank is the SWINE, or the Special Window and Interim Support to Nurture Hog Enterprises Lending Program. Landbank also remains responsive to the unique and emerging needs of the agri-sector, which continues to grapple with the impact and challenges brought on by viral diseases. Amid threats from the African swine fever outbreak, Landbank, together with the Department of Agriculture, launched last March the Swine Lending Program to assist hog raisers in sustaining and increasing pork production in the country. The Swine Lending Program is available to commercial hog raisers registered as cooperatives or farmers associations, small and medium enterprises, and large enterprises or corporations. Loans under the program can be used for swine production, which includes the acquisition or importation of semen or animals for breeding, feed milling operations, the construction, improvement, or retrofitting of necessary facilities that are compliant to biosecurity protocols of the Department of Agriculture, the industry or integrators, acquisition of fixed assets, and as working capital. So under this program, we can fund up to 80% of the total project cost. And this is really a concessional rate because we are giving it at fixed, 3% fixed for 3 years and subject to repricing after 3 years. But rates should not be lower than 3%. So we will establish a cap or a floor of 3%. So next slide, please. Yes, next slide. Okay, one important facility also that we are offering is this young entrepreneurs from school to agriculture program, or Yes to Agriculture program. Considering the significance of youth involvement in the long-term growth of the agriculture sector, Landbank is also offering the young entrepreneurs from school to agriculture program, or Yes to Agriculture program. The objectives of this program are as follows. First, to promote agri-entrepreneurship among the youth through the provision of credit and other support services. And second, to encourage young individuals to pursue farming and agribusiness enterprises. The Yes to Agriculture program is available for micro, small, and medium enterprises registered as sole proprietorship. The borrower must be 18 to 35 years old upon loan application and a graduate of at least secondary education or a vocational course with no adverse findings on character, among others. Eligible projects that can be funded under the program include agricultural and fishery production, trading, processing, servicing, and distribution of agricultural crops and commodities. These are some of the lending programs being offered by Landbank. And with our extensive lending portfolio, our 15 Landbank lending centers in Mindanao and our account of officers would be more than willing to assist interested borrowers to find the best credit facility fit for their needs. So the Yes to Agriculture program is basically encouraging the new and the young breed of entrepreneurs to start their business. And it should be related to agriculture. Next slide, please. So in the face of the global health pandemic, Landbank also remains steadfast in servicing the emerging requirements of the agriculture sector. The bank ensures the efficient and safe delivery of cash subsidy to rice farmer beneficiaries under the DA's Rice Farmer Financial Assistance, or RFFA program, and the Financial Subsidy to Rice Farmers, or FSRF program, to augment their needs and strict quarantine measures. Next slide, please. So the Rice Farmer Financial Assistance program is a 3 billion unconditional cash transfer program which aims to give 5,000 pesos financial assistance each to rice farmers who are tilling 0.5 and 2 hectares of land, up to 2 hectares of land. As of July 31, 2021, a total of 56,493 farmers from Mindanao were provided cash assistance amounting to 282.5 million under the RFFA program. Next slide, please. Meanwhile, the financial subsidy to rice farmers assists rice farmers tilling 1 hectare or less who are not covered under the RFFA and are provided 5,000 pesos cash subsidy. Under this program, Landbank released a total of 208.4 million in cash grants to 41,688 farmer beneficiaries from Mindanao as of July 2021. Next slide, please. Moreover, Landbank and the Department of Agriculture are working closely in implementing the expanded Survival and Recovery Assistance Project, or SureAid COVID-19 program. So funded under the Bayanihan to Recover as One Act, the SureAid COVID-19 program provides a one-time, zero-interest loan assistance of 25,000 pesos to eligible small farmers and fishers to finance their emergency and production capital requirements. This non-interest-bearing financing helps borrowers to continue their agricultural activities and contribute to sustained food production as we continue to push through and recover from the ongoing pandemic. Next slide, please. At Landbank, we strive to fulfill our promise of service excellence. Aside from expanding our credit portfolio, we are banking on technology to reach more clients, especially farmers and fishers, and deliver a delightful banking experience to our customers. Next slide, please. To provide convenient banking to our clients in the safety of their homes, Landbank's electronic and digital platforms are fully operational and accessible for various needs. These major e-banking channels include the Landbank mobile banking app, the WeAccess, the iAccess, the Link Biz portal, and the electronic modified disbursement system. So from January to July 2021, our e-banking channels facilitated a total of 73.5 billion transactions valued at 1.307 trillion, representing increases of 12% and 65% in volume of transactions and value respectively over the same period last year. Next slide, please. So the Landbank Pay, this is one of our new digital banking platform services. As part of our thrust to advance greater financial institution, we also introduced very recently our own mobile payment application, the Landbank Pay app, to provide access to convenient, safe, and secure online financial services, including fund transfers and bills payments. The Landbank Pay app is free to download from the Google Play and App Store and is available even for users who do not have an account with Landbank. We also facilitated the opening of more than 1.7 million online accounts through our digital onboarding system, or DOBS, which digitized the submission of applications. Next slide, please. In May this year, we launched the DOBS Mobile as a feature of the Landbank mobile app, which facilitates online savings account opening in as fast as 10 to 15 minutes without even having to visit any Landbank branch. The Landbank DOBS Mobile eliminates the need to line up in branches to open an account in support of the national government's Ease of Doing Business initiative, as well as safety protocols amid the ongoing pandemic. Next slide, please. So as we invest heavily in breakthrough innovations to improve our services, we believe that our branches and our physical touch points remain equally important in servicing our clients, especially those in the countryside. Last July, we successfully inaugurated 2 mobile branches housed in a 6-wheeler truck to be deployed in unbanked, underserved communities, as well as areas affected by disasters, calamities, and other disruptive events. It can also be used for the quick disbursement of cash subsidies for social amelioration programs implemented by the national governments and LGUs. Moreover, we are targeting to open additional 16 branches, 5 agri-hubs, 2 lending centers, 180 ATMs, and 50 cash deposit machines across the country before the year ends. Next slide, please. So in closing, Landbank will remain committed to pursue a more focused and institutional approach in serving farmers, fishers, and other agri-players to support their competitiveness and profitability. Next slide, please. As the country's food basket, with 1/3 of land devoted to agriculture, Mindanao is indeed full of promising opportunities, and Landbank stands ready to contribute even further to nurturing its agriculture. Aside from providing responsive financial interventions to agri-players, we will continuously work closely with local government units to help address their funding requirements for the construction of farm-to-market roads and key ports, among other crucial infrastructure projects, to ensure easy and efficient movement of agricultural projects within and outside of the region. Next slide, please. So we assure you of Landbank's fair commitment to supporting the country's entire agriculture sector, to serving the Filipino people, and to developing a more resilient and inclusive economy post-COVID-19. Thank you and good afternoon to one and all.
Okay, thank you so much po, Ma'am Charlotte. That is a short but actually very impactful and very what is it, parang siksik na presentation. So thank you so much, ma'am. Now let's move to our open forum. So is it okay, ma'am, if we ask some questions po sa inyo?
Sure.
Yes po.
I will appreciate if you ask questions.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. So now let's go to our first question. So someone is asking po, which of the agri subsectors avail most of the loan programs? And what are the factors of the high access by this sector?
Well, based on historically and based on our record, when we segmentize yung availment or those who are really interested to avail of the facilities of Landbank, this is really more on production loans, livestock. So basically, these are and aquaculture. So these are the type of borrowers that avail most of the facilities of Landbank.
I see. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, let's move to the next question po ito. How do smallholder farmers avail of these programs? I think they're asking po of the process on availing those programs that you have mentioned.
Okay, two ways. If they want to avail the legislated programs that, when we say legislated programs, these are programs funded by the national government and coursed through the bank. So the first few slides that I mentioned, ito yung ASEF, ERCA, RCEF, and SIDA. These are the legislated programs which Landbank is managing at this point. No? So they need to work or approach first Department of Agriculture para si BA ang mag-i-endorse to Landbank. However, these farmers can also directly approach Landbank and submit the requirements. Only when we evaluate them, ibabalik pa rin namin kasi sa DA for evaluation and for, the initial due diligence. So we suggest that for the legislated programs, they approach first Department of Agriculture. For our agrarian reform beneficiaries, they can approach or go first to the Department of Agrarian Reform. For the sugar planters naman, they approach first the Sugar Regulatory Authority, the SRA. But for those who are interested to avail directly of the loans with Landbank, the facilities with Landbank, they can approach any of the lending centers scattered all over Mindanao. So we have 15 lending centers in Mindanao, and there are 58 lending centers scattered all over the country. So they can approach, and these lending centers are based at the branches. So they just ask saan ang office ng lending center. So normally nasa second floor kami ng mga Landbank branches. Or they can also go directly to any of the Landbank branch and inquire about the lending programs of Landbank.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for clearing that out. And yes, those legislated programs that was mentioned earlier, I think if you are a regular viewer of our webinars, you are already familiar with those programs then kasi some of the organizations and the agencies that we have guessed in our previous episodes have also talked about this program. So yung managing financing partner ng mga programs na yun, one of them is Landbank, of course. So yun. Thank you so much, ma'am, for clearing that up. But may follow-up question po. This one is from JV Pedral. So follow-up niya po yung, ano po yung mga requirements for individual farmers to avail the loan programs?
Okay. Depende sa type of loan that they're going to apply. No? So I would just cite siguro, kasi he mentioned about individual farmer application. So normally, these are production loan. No? So when we say it could be a rice production loan, a banana production loan, or any high-value crop. So first and foremost, kailangan meron, he owns or they own yung property. And then they prepare a farm plan and budget. Kasi if it's a production loan, kailangan nila a budget on how to develop or till that land. So we need yung farm plan and budget. We call it farm plan and budget. So nakadetalye how much they need, no, to develop a particular hectare or hectares of land. Then mag-fill out lang sila. We have an application form na if you fill out, they should approach any of the lending center because bibigyan namin sila nung application form. And then we will evaluate, no? Evaluate namin sila. So the usual, magsasubmit sila ng mga valid IDs, the TIN, especially yung mga piling medyo malalaki na hectarage, kailangan meron silang tax identification number. But in the event na wala pa sila, hindi naman namin totally sinasabi you cannot apply, no? We will continue to evaluate and make the necessary due diligence doon sa application. But prior to the release, kailangan makumpleto mo yung mga requirements prior to the actual release of the loan.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. And yes, again, no, for those who are interested, please feel free to visit Landbank branches and ask where is the lending center para ma-assist talaga kayo. So yun. Now let's go to the next question. Ito naman po. What is the trend of accessing the programs for agri and fisheries sector? Is this increasing or declining? And what are the reasons behind the increase or decrease?
Well, at this point in time, no, talagang because we're in a pandemic and the economy is very uncertain, no. So nakaka-experience talaga kami ng decrease in terms of loan portfolio ng Landbank, no. So precisely because most of the borrowers are nasa wait and see, no? Parang they are evaluating muna or parang tinitingnan what will happen to the economy. But for our rice farmers, for our fishers, they continue, no? Under the legislated programs, we continue to provide them the loan, no? We're encouraging our farmers and fishers to continue to avail the loan with Landbank. What I'm pertaining to siguro more on the large corporate na into agribusiness. So wala masyado sila ngayon sa expansion mode. But our usual small farmers and fishers, they continue to avail the loan facility, they renew, and then upon harvest, they pay, and then they avail again.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. And then that's understandable naman, no, for those for the agribusiness circle kasi nga, as you said, they're really parang pinapakiramdaman muna nila yung economy natin ngayon because nga of the pandemic. And that's also good to hear that our smallholder farmers naman are continuing in availing these loan programs. So now let's move to the next question. Ito naman po. What are the Landbank's programs to reach farmers in the remote communities? Some of these farmers have difficulty going to the urban centers where Landbank and other financial institutions are operating.
Okay. For those located, we call them the unbanked, underserved areas. We tried as much as possible to partner with cooperatives, microfinance institutions, and rural banks because meron din kasi kaming limitations in terms of manpower. So we cannot reach out to all of these small farmers. That's why we have a database, no, of all the unbanked and served areas in the country, and may naka-assign yan ng mga account officers, no, in the lending centers. May mga naka-assign yan. So talagang ang tutok namin is to be able to reach to all these unbanked, underserved areas and farmers. So if talagang malayo ang lugar, so we suggest that you work with the nearest cooperative or rural bank in the area. And yung mga, we call them conduits, no? The rural banks, the cooperatives, the microfinance institutions, we call them our partners, our conduits, and they will be the one to avail of the loan with Landbank. And most of these co-ops, most of these rural banks and microfinance institutions have lines with Landbank.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering that question. And yes, thank you then to Landbank for really making an effort in reaching these far-flung communities. So now let's go to the next question. Ito naman po, with the Mandanas ruling, do you see an increase of borrowings from the LGUs to support some of the devolved services?
Yes, oo. We are looking forward to expanding further our partnership with the LGUs. So I think with the Mandanas law, they can expand and enter into more projects kasi that would mean increasing their borrowing capacity. So mas with that law once implemented, mas malaking borrowing capacity ni LGU, more projects to undertake, and Land Bank will be always, as usual, a willing partners to these LGUs.
Okay, yes. Thank you naman, Landbank, for doing that and also for really assisting our local government units, no? And being their partner in any of the endeavors that they are doing in helping our agri and fishery sector. Now, moving to the next question, ito po. Of the regions in the country, which has the highest access of these programs, and what do you think is or are the reasons for these?
What access in terms of
Yes po.
loans?
Yes po.
Okay. In Land Bank, we are divided. The lending sector of Land Bank is divided into 5 groups, no? 5 groups. So, kasali doon, so we have the North and Central Luzon. So apart from sa head office kasi we have the corporate banking sector, the retail and mid-market sector, and then we have the North and Central Luzon Lending Group, Southern Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So I'm happy to say that of the provincial operations, the Mindanao area has the biggest in terms of loan portfolio. So with that, meaning mas marami kaming napahiram in Mindanao, so mas maraming nakinabang sa pera ng gobyerno in terms of assistance to the agribusiness sector.
Okay, wow, that's good. So marami talagang farmers and fishers are in the agri and fishery sectors from Mindanao na hindi takot maghiram for, of course, for their agri and fishery sector endeavors. Yun. So now let's move to the next question. Ito naman po, in our experience working with some of the farmer groups, they are hesitant to borrow from banks because of the documentary requirements and fear of not being able to pay. What is Landbank's program or strategy to encourage these farmers to avail of these programs? And what is your advice to those farmers?
Okay. Actually, that issue on maraming requirements has parang time and again, nagka-crop up na yan siya, no, in all of the forums that I attended. Talagang parang sinasabi maraming requirements. But I would just like to explain that the requirements that we are asking from our farmers, from our borrowers, are the same requirements that we have been requiring since then, no? Because Land Bank is under the supervision of Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So, regulated ang lahat ng mga bank. So meaning, meron talaga kaming sinusunod na mga requirements. However, for our small farmers, talagang pinag-aralan yan ng Land Bank, and we tried to reduce the requirements that we are asking from our small farmers. So even the loan application form, no? Dati kung parang yun doon nagrereklamo kasi ang dami daw pinipirmahan. So right now we have reduced that to yung Land Bank form, two forms na lang, no, yung fill upan nila. And then yung application, so the usual yung farm plan and budget, and then they fill out our application form. So I'm referring to the small farmers, the small fishers, and the agrarian reform beneficiaries, direct borrower, no? So they will just have to prepare the farm plan and budget, 2 valid IDs, and then the farm plan and budget. And then they fill out our application. And then after that, we conduct the usual credit investigation. Then we check if they own the property. So kailangan, kasi iba din ang requirement if they own the property or they just lease, no, or rented the area. So basically, yun yung mga requirements namin. But one good news right now, because the bank has really invested on digitalization. So by September, or actually within this month, we will be launching our digital lending system. So meaning this is an automation end-to-end. So from application until makredit yung kanyang loan proceeds, so automated na yan siya. So pwede siya directly mag-access doon sa website ng Landbank. Kung, well, our farmers can be assisted by their children, so they can access the website of Landbank, fill out the application there, and then just wait for notice via text kung kailan sila dapat pupunta sa lending center, because they have also, pag approve na, of course, they have to sign the evidence of indebtedness, di ba? Ito yung mga promissory note. So basically, we are also trying to improve our services and our system para naman we want our farmers to be delighted, para hindi naman mabawasan yung sinasabing maraming requirements if they borrow from a bank, especially with Landbank.
Wow, okay, that's very good to hear, no? And the one that you've said na automated na in a few months time or in the near future yung Landbank natin, so yung lending process will be automated, is actually very good and very convenient for the borrower.
It will start within this month, no?
Oh, wow,
so we will start with the legislated program. So pag nag-renew or nag-avail sila under the legislated program, through digital lending system na. So it's an end-to-end automation process.
Okay, wow, that's very good to hear. It it's really it really shows, no, how no, Landbank is really parang adapting to the technology right now and making very good use of it. So that's very good job in your part po, ma'am. So thank you so much for that. And also I know that our viewers are really excited for that, because again, that is a much more convenient and an easier way to transact now with Landbank. So ito po, ma'am, since you've also mentioned earlier, no, about owning, there is a different process for those lands that are owned and then those that are leased or rented. So one of our viewers, Jane Silalam Guevara, is asking po, what if we only rented a certain area, ma'am? Can we still avail the individual farmer loan?
Well, if they lease and then or rent lang yung property, kailangan may consent doon sa owner, allowing them to use that property over a certain period. So it has to be covered by a contract. Dapat meron silang kasulatan, no? They have to have an agreement. Yun ang titingnan ng Land Bank. And then doon din namin ibibase, no, kung if or go what particular, kasi depende on the crop, kung if it's just rice production or corn production application, short term lang kasi yan. So I think that will not cause an issue. Ang medyo critical lang if they're going to plant high valued crops, let's say coffee, banana, oil palm, coconut. So dapat yung lease contract nila longer din, no? Kasi syempre, we have also to ensure na makakakolekta kami. So first, we need to check on their contract. And then there has to be a consent, no, from the owner of the land, allowing them to use that property over a certain period of time.
Okay, I see. Thank you so much for clearing that up, ma'am. And of course, to the one who is asking. So again, it's important the contract between you and your the one you are renting the land from is secured, and also as what Ma'am Charlotte have said, kailangan talaga yung consent din ng nagmamay-ari ng lupa. So yan, thank you, ma'am. And now let's move to our next question. Ito po, may pag-asa ba ang mga hindi makabasa at makasulat to borrow loans? Some of our farmers does not know how to read and write. How does Landbank help these group of farmers?
Oo naman, we will support, no, even if you do not know how to read and write, siguro may isang member lang sa family who will stand as witness, no? And pipirma din siya. Siguro, I'm sure, meron din namang member sa family, no, na who knows how to read and write. So, kasi kailangan lang mapaintindi doon sa nag-apply, ano yung ina-apply niya na loan? Ano yung mga conditions of the loan? So, well, he can affix her, yung signature via, thumb mark, or pwede naman. And then, may magwi-witness lang sa kanya.
I see. Okay. Thank you so much. And I hope that all of those who are watching would also inform other people of this, especially this part. So, na inclusive ang land bank. Inclusive tayo dito sa lahat ng ating mga farmers. So, yun. Now, let's move to the next question. This is from JM Alpanta. Sabi niya po, good afternoon. May I ask how many months should the process of Kaya loan should be done po? Thank you.
Ano yung na-mention niya?
Kaya daw na loan, ma'am. I think this is a youth, yung loan para sa mga kabataan from...
Yung yes to agriculture. Well, depending on the completeness of the documents submitted to Landbank, ang sa amin lang naman, we have yung sa mga applicants, just ensure that kumpleto yung documents that you're going to submit to Landbank. And please also discuss it with the one processing or the account officer handling your loan para ma-assure kayo na kumpleto yung documents na binigay. Kasi i-evaluate namin yan eh. So, dapat you will be informed also na kumpleto na po yung mga documents na sinabit ninyo and we will start processing your loan. Kasi normally, for amounts na ganun, yung 100,000, 50,000, or even as high as 30 million, meron din kasi kaming ino-observe na turnaround time. No? So, normally, small amounts, if we can have that approved, well, with the digital lending system na coming, I think, one-day application, kaya na namin for the small size application. But based on our turnaround time, we have 15 days to act on loans up to my level approval, no, up to the group head approval. Then beyond that, which goes to several committees of the bank, we have around 30 to 45 days turnaround time.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for clearing that question up. And yes, nga no, the more complete your requirements are, the easier it is to process ng land bank. So make sure din sa mga nag-a-avail ng programs na ito na kumpleto yung requirements para walang masyadong hassle. At
saka emphasize ko lang ha, hindi pa tayo nagbibilangan. Pag hindi pa kumpleto yung requirements nyo, wala pa tayong binibilang na turnaround time. So, as I explained earlier, once kumpleto na yung documents nyo, you have to also ask your account officer, ma'am, kumpleto na po ba yung aking documents na nasubmit sa inyo? Once magsabi si account officer na yes, kumpleto na, then pwede na tayong magbilang ng 15 days na turnaround time or shorter. Actually, basta kompleto lang ang documents, we can act on single account naman fast.
Okay, I see. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I think that is the last question from our viewers. So once again, ma'am, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And we really have learned a lot from your presentation today. And of course, ma'am, before we say goodbye to you, we would like to ask a message from you to all of our viewers right now.
Okay, so we would like also to thank you for inviting Landbank to share our services, our lending programs to the public, no, to the viewers. We really appreciate yung invitation ninyo, and rest assured that we will work with you. We are happy that we have imparted to you our lending programs, our facilities, our services, and rest assured that Landbank will continue to be your partner in promoting development in the countryside. Thank you very much.